Imagine being offered anything in the world: unlimited wealth, absolute power, victory over every enemy you have ever faced. Most people wouldn't think twice. For most of human history, rulers have fought wars, betrayed allies, and destroyed entire kingdoms in pursuit of those very things. Wealth and power have always been the ultimate prize. But thousands of years ago, a young king was given that exact opportunity. He could ask for anything he desired: riches beyond imagination, military dominance, a long and secure life. Instead, he asked for something almost no one asks for: wisdom. His name was Solomon, and that single decision would transform his kingdom into one of the richest and most powerful in the ancient world. But the most remarkable part of his story is not the gold, the palaces, or the empire he built. It's the principle hidden behind his choice, a principle that still determines who builds lasting success and who spends their entire life chasing it. Solomon did not begin his reign as a powerful and confident ruler. In fact, when he became king, he was still very young. He had just inherited the throne from his father, King David, a legendary warrior who had spent decades fighting battles, uniting tribes, and building the foundations of a powerful kingdom. David was remembered as a conqueror, a king of strength, a leader who ruled through courage and military power. Solomon, however, was very different. He was not known as a warrior. He had not spent years commanding armies or leading battles. And now, suddenly, the responsibility of ruling an entire nation rested on his shoulders. Israel was no small tribe anymore. It had grown into a complex kingdom, surrounded by rival nations, political tensions, and internal disputes among its own people. Every decision Solomon made could affect thousands, sometimes millions, of lives. A single wrong judgment could spark conflict. A careless policy could weaken the kingdom. And a ruler without wisdom could easily destroy everything his father had built. Solomon understood this reality very clearly. Leadership was not about wearing a crown or sitting on a throne. It was about making decisions, and decisions determine the future. History has shown this lesson again and again. Empires rise because of wise leadership, and they collapse because of poor judgment. Solomon knew that wealth, armies, and power alone could not guarantee the survival of his kingdom. What he truly needed was the ability to understand people, resolve conflicts, and make decisions that would strengthen the nation rather than divide it. But there was one problem. Wisdom cannot simply be inherited. It cannot be seized like territory, and it cannot be forced through power. It must be learned, developed, and chosen. And soon, Solomon would face a moment where that choice would define not only his reign, but his legacy for thousands of years. Not long after Solomon became king, something extraordinary happened. According to the biblical account, one night Solomon had a dream. But this was not an ordinary dream. In it, God appeared to him and offered him something almost unimaginable. He was told he could ask for anything, wealth beyond imagination, victory over every enemy, a long and secure life. For most rulers in history, the answer would have been obvious. Kings have always sought power. Empires have been built on the pursuit of gold, land, and domination. Wars have been fought for far less. But Solomon paused. He understood something that many leaders fail to understand: the real danger of power without understanding. A king with wealth but no wisdom can easily become greedy. A king with armies but no judgment can lead his nation into disaster. And a king with authority but no discernment can destroy the very kingdom he is meant to protect. Solomon looked at the responsibility before him and realized something important. Ruling people is not simply about control. It is about understanding justice, understanding human nature, understanding when to act and when to hold back. So instead of asking for riches or power, Solomon made an unusual request. He asked for an understanding heart. In other words, he asked for wisdom, the ability to judge between right and wrong and lead his people well. It was a surprising request, and according to the biblical story, that decision changed everything. Because wisdom has a strange effect on power. While most people chase success directly, wisdom changes the way a person makes decisions. And better decisions often lead to opportunities others never even see. Soon, Solomon's wisdom would be tested in a way that would reveal exactly why that choice mattered. At first glance, Solomon's decision may seem unusual. Why would a king refuse the chance to ask directly for wealth, power, or security? For most people, those things are the ultimate goals. Money promises comfort. Power promises control. A long life promises time to enjoy both. But Solomon understood a deeper principle, one that many people still overlook today. Wealth itself does not solve problems. In fact, without wisdom, wealth often creates new ones. History is filled with examples of people who gained enormous riches, only to lose everything because they lacked judgment. Money magnifies decisions. If someone makes poor choices, more money simply allows them to make bigger mistakes. Solomon seemed to understand this long before the world began to study economics or psychology. He understood that wealth is not the foundation of success. Decision-making is. A person who consistently makes wise decisions will eventually create opportunities. They will avoid unnecessary risks. They will recognize valuable partnerships. They will see possibilities where others see obstacles. Over time, those advantages compound. This is why wisdom can be far more powerful than money itself. Money can disappear through bad investments, reckless spending, or poor leadership. But wisdom can rebuild wealth again and again. Solomon understood that if he asked for riches, he might gain wealth once. But if he asked for wisdom, he would gain the ability to create prosperity for an entire kingdom. And that difference would soon become visible to everyone around him. Because not long after his request, Solomon faced a case that would reveal exactly why wisdom matters more than wealth. It did not take long for Solomon's wisdom to be tested. One day, two women came before the king with a strange and heartbreaking dispute. Both claimed to be the mother of the same baby. There were no witnesses, no clear evidence. Only two voices insisting that the child belonged to them. Situations like this were extremely difficult to resolve. Without proof, any decision could easily be wrong. If Solomon chose incorrectly, the real mother would lose her child forever. But instead of rushing to a conclusion, Solomon did something unusual. He created a situation that would force the truth to reveal itself. According to the biblical account, Solomon ordered that the baby be brought before him. Then he gave a shocking command. Divide the child in two. Give half to one woman and half to the other. The courtroom fell silent. But almost immediately, one of the women cried out in desperation. "Please, my lord, give the baby to her. Just don't harm him." The other woman remained calm. She accepted the idea of dividing the child. In that moment, Solomon understood everything. The woman willing to give up the baby to save its life was the true mother. Her love had exposed the truth. So Solomon gave the child to her. the story spread quickly throughout the kingdom. People realized something remarkable about their new king. Solomon did not rely on force or authority alone. He understood human nature. He knew that wisdom is not just about knowledge. It is about seeing what others fail to see. And as his reputation for wisdom grew, something else began to grow with it: respect, trust, and eventually, prosperity. Because when a leader demonstrates wisdom, people begin to believe in the stability of his rule. And stability is the foundation upon which wealth is built. After the famous judgment, something began to change in the kingdom. News of Solomon's wisdom spread far beyond the walls of Jerusalem. People spoke about the young king, who could see the truth where others saw only confusion. Leaders, merchants, and rulers from neighboring lands began to pay attention. And this is where wisdom begins to transform into something even more powerful: trust. In ancient times, trust was the foundation of prosperity. Merchants traveled long distances only when they believed a kingdom was stable. Alliances were formed only when rulers believed their partners were intelligent and predictable. Solomon's reputation created exactly that environment. Instead of ruling through constant war, he focused on building relationships with surrounding nations. Strategic alliances were formed. Trade routes expanded. Caravans carrying valuable goods began passing through Israel more frequently. Spices, precious metals, rare woods, and luxury goods flowed through the kingdom. Merchants knew that under Solomon's rule, agreements would be honored, disputes would be judged fairly, trade would be protected. And when merchants feel safe, commerce grows rapidly. This was one of Solomon's greatest strengths as a leader. He understood that lasting prosperity does not come from conquest alone. It comes from stability. Armies can seize territory, but wisdom builds systems that generate wealth year after year. By creating peace with surrounding nations and encouraging trade, Solomon turned his kingdom into a crossroads of commerce between powerful regions like Egypt, Arabia, and Mesopotamia. Goods flowed through Israel, and with every caravan that passed, the kingdom grew richer. But the wealth that followed was not just the result of geography or luck. It was the result of decisions. Decisions shaped by the very wisdom Solomon had asked for. As the years passed, the results of Solomon's leadership became impossible to ignore. His kingdom entered a period of prosperity rarely seen in the ancient world. Trade routes expanded, alliances strengthened, and wealth began flowing steadily into Israel. Caravans arrived from distant lands carrying spices, precious stones, rare woods, and luxury goods. Merchants traveled safely through the kingdom, confident that disputes would be judged fairly and agreements honored. And as commerce grew, so did the riches of the kingdom. According to the biblical account, Solomon received hundreds of talents of gold every year. This was an enormous amount by the standards of the ancient world, enough to make his court one of the wealthiest centers of power in the region. His palace was filled with treasures. Golden shields lined the royal halls. His throne was said to be made of ivory and overlaid with gold. Foreign rulers sent gifts, tribute, and rare objects from distant lands. But perhaps the most remarkable detail recorded about Solomon's reign is this: silver became so abundant in Jerusalem that it was considered almost as common as stone. This was not simply the wealth of a king, it was the prosperity of an entire nation. Under Solomon's leadership, Israel had become a center of stability, commerce, and influence. Leaders from other kingdoms traveled long distances to witness the wisdom of the king, whose reputation had spread across the region. One of the most famous visitors was the Queen of Sheba, who journeyed with great wealth and difficult questions to test Solomon's understanding. And according to the accounts, she left amazed by what she saw. But while the gold, palaces, and admiration of foreign rulers were impressive, they were not the most important part of Solomon's story. The real lesson was hidden beneath the surface, because the wealth of Solomon did not begin with gold. It began with a decision. When people hear about Solomon, they often focus on the gold, the palaces, and the prosperity of his kingdom. But those things were only the visible results. The true beginning of Solomon's success happened long before the wealth arrived. It began with a single decision. When he was given the opportunity to ask for anything, Solomon did not focus on the rewards most people desire. He focused on the ability that would allow him to make better choices over time. Wisdom. And that decision changed the trajectory of his entire reign. Because every leader faces thousands of decisions throughout their life. Some are small and quickly forgotten. Others shape the future of nations. A wise decision can create stability, opportunity, and growth. A foolish one can destroy years of progress. Solomon understood that wealth alone could not guarantee the success of his kingdom. Money can disappear through poor management. Power can crumble under weak leadership. But wisdom multiplies everything it touches. It improves judgment. It strengthens relationships. It reveals opportunities others cannot see. This is why Solomon's kingdom prospered. Not simply because gold flowed into his treasury, but because the decisions guiding the kingdom were thoughtful and deliberate. Over time, those decisions created stability, and stability created prosperity. It is a pattern that appears again and again throughout history. The leaders who focus only on immediate rewards often lose everything they gain. But those who develop understanding, patience, and judgment build foundations that last far longer than wealth alone. And that is the deeper principle hidden within Solomon's story. Thousands of years have passed since the reign of Solomon, yet the principle behind his story remains surprisingly relevant. Most people begin their journey by chasing results. They pursue money, status, recognition, or influence. These outcomes appear attractive because they represent visible success. They are the rewards everyone can see. But Solomon's story reveals something different. Results are rarely the starting point. They are the consequence of decisions. Every day, people make choices. How they spend their time, how they respond to problems, how they treat others, and how they approach opportunities. Over time, those small decisions accumulate. Good decisions create stability. Stability creates trust. Trust creates opportunity. And opportunity eventually leads to prosperity. This is why wisdom can be more valuable than wealth itself. Money can disappear quickly through poor judgment, but wisdom improves judgment again and again, allowing a person to rebuild, adapt, and grow. Solomon understood this long before modern theories of leadership or economics existed. Instead of asking directly for the rewards most people desire, he focused on developing the ability that produces those rewards. Better understanding, better judgment, better decisions. And that is why his story continues to endure. Not because he possessed great riches, but because he understood the deeper force that creates them. The same principle still applies today. Those who focus only on outcomes often struggle to reach them. But those who develop wisdom, the ability to think clearly, judge fairly, and act carefully, often find that success begins to follow them naturally. And that was the quiet insight behind the choice of the king who asked for wisdom instead of wealth. When people remember Solomon, they often picture the gold, the magnificent buildings and the stories of a kingdom overflowing with wealth. But those were only the visible results. The real turning point in Solomon's story happened much earlier, in a quiet moment when he was given the chance to ask for anything. He could have chosen wealth. He could have chosen power. He could have chosen victory over his enemies. Instead, he chose wisdom. And that single decision changed the direction of his entire life. Because wisdom shapes the choices that shape the future. It influences how leaders govern, how nations grow, and how individuals respond to opportunity and challenge. Throughout history, the same pattern appears again and again. People who pursue wealth directly often struggle to hold on to it. But those who pursue understanding, patience, and sound judgment tend to build something far more stable. They create systems. They form lasting relationships. They make decisions that continue producing value long after the moment has passed. This was the deeper lesson hidden within Solomon's story. His wealth was not the cause of his success. It was the result. The true foundation of his legacy was the decision he made at the very beginning, to value wisdom above everything else. And perhaps that is the question his story still asks today. If you were given the same choice, what would you ask for?